A very good afternoon to all of the London traders that are trading Euro USD, the pound, and using the DXY to make their analysis. Yeah, let's just dive into today's analysis. Starting off with the DXY on the weekly time frame. Here on this channel, I'm always going to start off on the weekly time frame because I believe that we need to look at the bigger picture of things all the time. In order to understand what the lower time frame is going to be doing. So as said in my previous video, we've come into this weekly order block, which flipped from this demand. So this demand right here, price came into it, created this big movement up and then displaced lower. So we are in an area where we can see price come down and displace lower. So that's the weekly time frame. Dropping down to the daily time frame, these are basically my targets, these sell side liquidity resting pools right now. We can see price tapped into this daily order block and formed a bearish engulfing candle. And this order block was formed these lows from this order block up here. So I'm using order blocks. I usually call them supply. So essentially this supply zone caused this push down, and then it was mitigated again and then caused this push down, and then this was mitigated, and then I'm expecting these lows to go. Maybe not all today with CPI, but I'm certainly expecting price to head lower. Obviously this is CPI, so don't put your money on the news, don't be gambling. I most likely will not be trading today because of CPI, but nonetheless, this is my expectation for price downside on the DXY, which then means upside for Euro USD and Pound USD. So just going into detail on the 4-hour time frame on the DXY, we can see that it came into this order block and essentially created a market structure shift right here. And now we are pushing higher and we have left the daily gap open. We are in this 4-hour fair value gap, not yet into the breaker. I will set an alert at that 4-hour breaker with you guys. 4-hour breaker. And what I'd be looking for up here is lower time frame confirmation that this 4-hour gap is going to hold and that we are looking for lower prices. This would be the first draw on liquidity. This is my first target, and then these lows. So let's just drop down to the 1-hour time frame, see if there's anything interesting. These are the fair value gaps that I marked out from today's video, going over yesterday's trade where I longed Euro and shorted basically the DXY. So yeah, there's not much that I'm looking at from this perspective. The 4-hour breaker also has a 1-hour breaker, but that goes hand in hand. And then on the 15-minute time frame, there's not much, not very clear order blocks here from which I can look to trade from, but we'll see if on the Euro and on the Pound we have more clarity. So the bias for today on DXY is established as bearish. Coming into the Euro, so what has the Euro done? The Euro has swept this major liquidity and it has come into this monthly order block, which is also a weekly breaker. And now I'm expecting this high to be taken on the Euro. Yeah, so on the daily time frame, what we can see is price breaking this high. So we are currently bullish. Structure wise, we've swept this liquidity, we've come into this area of demand and formed some sort of rejection. And now here we are in respecting the 25% level of this huge rejection block. And we have, from yesterday's candle, inversed this fair value gap. We've left this gap open. I don't know if I'd want to see it get tapped yet. The lower time frames will tell me. But yeah, so as I'm bearish on the DXY, I'm definitely bullish on the Euro. This is one of my main targets, obviously not for today. But for CPI, I want to see just a big movement up. I'm definitely bullish still on the Euro. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame. This was a trade that I took yesterday. I didn't make 9R on it. I made 3R because I closed a bit too early, so it was a great one for the journal. There's another video where I explain this trade setup. So if you want to go check it out, I'll leave the link right in the bio. Yeah, so this is basically, this daily gap has this 4-hour fair value gap as well. And as we're currently at a 4-hour high, I would like to see some minor form of rejection before longing. Price could literally just tap into this fair value gap right here, which I will set an alert at. So this 4-hour fair value gap. And then just literally reverse and start targeting these highs. We could literally see a bullish day with a small lower wick and straight upside movement. However, ideally we come down into this 4-hour fair value gap. Dropping down to the 1-hour time frame. Yeah, you can see the setup from yesterday, which was really clean. And not much to say right here. This zone, yeah, I like this 1-hour range for sure, this accumulation. It is, however, just in front of the daily gap. Let's drop down to the lower time frames to see what this zone is saying. We have lid in front of it, right here, this M15 lid, which is liquidity in the leg. So basically, if this is the move up, this would be liquidity before coming into here and then continuing to push higher. That would be the lid, okay? But yeah, this is essentially just liquidity before my 1-hour zone. And I would like to see how price reacts to this zone and see if we can potentially take a long from it, targeting this high and then the buy side liquidity highs, which are up here. Again, I have to be aware that this daily gap is right below and that price can create a Judas swing all the way down, come into here, and then only here do we get our rejection. So I'm still going to mark this out. This is basically what I'm looking for. A 15-minute market structure shift. And then, yeah, we would be going up there, targeting those highs. I'm going to set up this here. By the way, guys, these are just my setups. I don't recommend for you guys to blindly buy into here if you're watching this video before London. So that's it for the euro. I'm expecting higher prices coming into CPI. Going to the pound against the dollar. So GBP USD. If you look at this push down, notice how you don't see any fair value gaps in this push down on the weekly time frame. The last fair value gap, the last bearish weekly fair value gap was up here from November 2024. And what this tells me, especially now that well, this was technically the last fair value gap, my apologies, but this one has gotten inverted now with this massive bullish candle. And now we have this pin bar. Price came back into this BPR and is now looking bullish, very bullish in my opinion, up to this high and then the other highs that I've marked out on the daily time frame. Another thing that I would like to point out is how this rejection block right here, the 25% level, is being respected. Volume is respecting it. And we've just printed a nice bullish candle from yesterday's trading day. Dropping down to the 4-hour, price came into this 4-hour fair value gap and swept this liquidity. And yeah, we basically created a market structure shift. We've got this daily gap open and we have this 4-hour fair value gap. And this looks textbook, like post displacement. You get, we just get a pullback. We find the lower time frame, see if they align, and then we're longing. It is CPI though, so we've got to be careful. Going down to the 1-hour time frame, we can see the stacked PD array. So this 1-hour sell before the buy, and we have liquidity here, which will better be seen on the 15-minute time frame as I've marked out. This liquidity before this 1-hour zone in this 4-hour breaker in the 4-hour fair value gap with the daily gap still open. So it's looking like this would be a very interesting place to take some longs from, and I will mark this out just as for the euro with my tool. And then yeah, we'll see whatever if we get any trades. That is basically it for today. There's not much else that I would like to point out. Again, if you want to see yesterday's trade and how we made 3%, you can check on the channel. And yeah, that's basically it for today's video. I hope this will help you create your own bias coming into the session. And this is just what I was looking for. Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great trading session.